The problem with writing advice on the internet is that it's pretty useless. And the problem always stems from this. Most writing advice that you see bandied about on the internet by writing experts can always have this little addendum attached to it, unless you're going for a certain effect or something. It's pretty easy. You give something a very basic, very no nonsense piece of advice like show, don't tell. And then there's always like a little addendum is, well, sometimes you do need to show, and sometimes it's about effect, and it really depends on what type of story you're going for, and it's always really what type of story you're going for. And that's always the problem, is that every story is essentially unique, and methods that work in one might not really work so well in the other. And anybody preaching to you of a one uh size fits all solution is like is lying. No, that's too harsh, but they can't help you really beyond like very basic, very surface level critiques, because they don't know what your story is and they don't know how it plays and what type of characters you have. Like show don't tell is a fairly basic piece of advice because it has some pretty good uses for it. Like, take the example of two characters are friends. This to me is always a really good example of why show don't tell is needed, is that for two characters to be conceivable friends, you need to show them engaged in the act of friendship. You can't just simply say they're friends and then in the book itself have there be no like friendliness to it. Like they're always mad at each other, they're always fighting with each other, or they barely spend any time with each other. It's like it's not really a good sign of friendship if the friends hate each other at all moments of the day. But you're told, "Oh, no, 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 these are good friends. These are very good friends." Romantic relationships work the same. You can say that they're attracted to each other, but you kind of have to show that they fit well as a romantic couple. The problem that comes with show don't tell is that you just can't tell everything. uh you just can't show everything. Sometimes telling is absolutely vital and necessary. And the thing is, real life is full of telling. We're told things all the time. We're sat down and explained how these things came to be. And a story that is insistent on showing everything would be a very difficult story to achieve its goals. Like, imagine having to sit there and show every little action that happens. Like, the famous example in most of this, when people are talking about it, is how old films used to uh, show people going to new locations. Now, it didn't happen all the time, but as somebody who went to film school, this did happen enough that people noted it. Older movies tended to have this scene where you would show a character arriving at a place, walking up to the office, and then showing the office and them going in the office of a business or meeting. And this was boring. We can ostensibly assume that a character knows how to walk to a place, get into an elevator, and get up. It is assumed that that is going to happen, right? You don't have to show a character doing these things. And where the limit on that is, and where you need to cut and show and tell, is again always going to be just dependent on your book. This is why writing advice is limited almost always. It's not that it's wrong. I would never imply that it's wrong, but it does have limitations. And eventually, your book, you're going to need to both ignore and not ignore advice you've been given by people for whatever eventually fits your story. And the problem with even sitting down a list of rules is you can probably always think of a few things that violate the rules and do perfectly fine. It's kind of what make art fun and exciting. is that, yeah, there's general accepted best practices, but sometimes you can just really screw with those. Go your own direction, and you'd be shocked how well it can work out. And other times it can totally destroy your project and totally fuck it up. That is the delicate balance with everything. So I guess if anybody's telling you directly how to write best, how to um, create best, they might be right, they might be wrong. They might have the experience that knows general trends, but they also might totally screw it up. And that is the forever winding sword of Damocles over your head is you may eventually get it right, or you may eventually get it wrong, or this piece of advice may be wrong or right. And that's the fear of creativity and life, I guess.